And welcome to another edition of Odyssey House Journals. I'm Trip Mitchell. That is Randall Carlisle, and we are here for show in our 50s. Wouldn't that be nice?
You're not talking about our age, are
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be wonderful.
Yes, but we're at show 50-something.
Something, right. We've done a lot of them.
And that's a pretty good record. We want to thank Lee, who's behind the camera as always, and want to thank all of you. We are getting listenership that is, we're just kind of shocked and amazed.
What shocks me is at least listenership, because we're on Spotify and iTunes, is that we're getting listeners all over the world. Now, why somebody around the world would want to listen to this, I'm not quite sure. But Switzerland's a big country, Russia, and we have one listener in Iran.
And hopefully he's doing okay.
Well, I hope that the government doesn't know that he's listening in Iran, because this could be a radical show for Iran.
This could. Not a lot of fun tickets cashed in Iran.
No, exactly. Hey, we're going to try to start out every show with maybe a news story that is just something to think about. And I just clipped this one. It sort of surprised me, and we're finding this in Odyssey House too. And the headline is "More People Using Meth and Fentanyl, Often in Combination." And that's according to urine tests that have been done at treatment centers around the country. And normally, in the old days, you'd come in, you were a heroin addict, you were a meth addict, you were an alcoholic, and people are using them in combination now.
Why is that? Do you think that one lowers the inhibition? And
I never used meth or heroin. I liked alcohol, so I don't know. And I think it's probably one's an upper and one's a downer, and I guess you sort of...
And there are many people in AA who also used cocaine at the time for the same reason.
I used cocaine so I could drink more.
So it was an honorable reason. You weren't doing it for fun.
I didn't use it because I was a cocaine addict. I was using it so I could drink more, because I'd start slurring my words, and if I...
With cocaine, you'd slur your words faster.
Or I thought, at least it seemed to me, that I was more coherent at the time. So
in retrospect, we find out that we were not as good of actors as we thought we were.
No, everybody knew I was an alcoholic except me. So, especially my wives.
Yeah, and
you're an alcoholic. No, I just drink too much. So,
I can quit anytime I want.
Yeah, sure.
And we've we tape a couple weeks in advance of when the shows are showing.
Several weeks.
Yeah, we've just finished January, where I had 5 or 6 good friends start saying that they weren't going to drink in January at all. And a lot of them made it to the third day.
And I saw that on social media. It was a trend of people saying don't drink or drug in January. Stay clean in January. I don't know what the point is. I guess a new resolution. I guess it means you can start drinking in February. I don't know. That's the way an alcoholic would think, right?
That's exactly right.
I did it for a month so I can drink. I'll drink to that.
Well,
right?
We have a great show with 2 dynamic guests coming up. Angela and Katie Martindale, and I've had the good luck of working with Angela for years. She is a dynamic woman, and her sister Katie is going to tell a story about recovery. And ladies, come on in. And this should be very interesting, and we're going to look at things from a nutritional standpoint and how exercise and some things can really help. But
what was that word, exercise?
It really is a concept that works.
Just movement, that's all.
Yeah, well.
This is Angela.
Just movement. Hi, everyone.
And this is Katie, and Angela is just amazing. We worked together for a long time, but when I hadn't seen you for a couple of years, and in the gym at about 7 o'clock in the morning, I saw you and Katie, and Katie...
You all 3 were at the gym at 7 o'clock in the morning?
Yes,
sir.
We were. Yes, sir.
Oh, my gosh.
The fact that I knew... This gym, Vasa, is not very friendly, but the second that I knew Angela, I was a lot cooler. People looked at me different. And now Vita is training with the trainers, so she knows all the gossip.
Oh, good.
But it's a tough experience. So tell me about yourself and how you've come to be in this position where you're in recovery and things are going great.
Well, thank you for having me. And I was an addict for almost all my life.
And you're 24?
Yes.
Okay.
I wish.
Yeah.
We carbon dated you before the show started.
Yeah.
And I just got really involved with heroin, and after being prescribed oxys, and then went to meth, and it just raveled and went downhill. And
you heard that news story that I just referred to. Did you do meth and heroin at the same time?
yes.
I don't understand. So.
Well, heroin is a downer.
Right.
And it, when you have to function and you don't want to be sick, you use heroin to not be sick, but then you do meth to stay awake. And
So it was
function.
similar to what I described using cocaine when I was getting drunk.
Correct.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
So
And
you're not addicted, you're just functioning
Yeah,
at it.
there you go. It's just making me functional.
well,
Yeah.
you think you're functioning.
Yeah, and
but
that,
not really.
Katie, I know in my case, Randall never drank on the air. I did.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I thought I pulled it off. And it's funny when humor is one of the weapons you use, you think you're funnier.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes you're not as funny as you thought.
Right.
So what,
Especially if you're around sober people.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're around high people, it's like, ha, ha, ha. But the sober people just look at you, and, you know.
Yeah.
so what were you doing this time? How did you make your living?
I was prescribed OxyContin, and I would sell them,
Oh,
and then use heroin because it was cheaper.
so wow.
Yeah.
So now your sister is a pretty amazing woman. Did you try to minimize your contact with your sister during this period so you could kind of hang out and not get any counseling or any?
Well, in my deep addiction, I was in a very abusive relationship, and so I wasn't allowed to have any contact with any family, friends, anyone. I was.
very
By the way,
isolated.
this is a tell, as they would say. If you're in a relationship and your spouse doesn't let you be around friends and family, it's not a good sign.
It's a
Yeah.
warning sign.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Especially
Unless
your
you-
sister.
Yeah,
You know.
unless you
Yeah.
just won the lottery, then maybe it's a good
Right.
idea not to be around your friends and family.
Right.
yeah, he completely isolated me. He's the one that introduced me to most of the drugs. I didn't start heavily using until I was 32. So
Oh boy.
yeah,
So you were in a bad relationship, and he's gone away.
for the most part, yes.
Good, good. Don't want to give you relationship advice, but maybe permanently.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, he's gone.
Good,
But,
thank God.
yeah, yeah.
How did you decide that you wanted to get clean and sober?
I was just done. I was done disappointing family. I was done killing myself, pretty much. So I just, one day I was.
And how did you come to that done? Because that's a question. We have the beauty of the show, and the reason why I'm so excited to do it is we met some incredible people like yourself. And how they come to that doneness, I wish we could figure that out. If we could,
Yeah.
If there'd be a
Bottle that-
magic thing saying, okay, you're done, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah.
how did you
Yeah.
come to your saying, I'm done with this?
It was July 4th, 2014. I had depleted all of my veins. I had depleted my muscle. And I just said, this is it.
Who was the first call you made? Did you let someone in your family know? Did you try
No.
to get into rehab, or you just this was your understanding?
It was on, I withdrawed on my bathroom floor for 4 days until my counselor came and took me to coffee.
Wow,
Yeah.
that 4 days must have been miserable.
Yes. I
Torture.
thought
Yeah.
it was unexplainable. It was really bad.
I heard you
I
feel
asked.
sort of like you're going to die, or you wish you would
I
die.
was praying for death
Wow.
because it was just, I was an extent, I was shooting any ball a day in my arm. So.
Shooting
I don't
an
know.
8-ball a day, that's major league heroin abuse.
And I don't know, how I afforded it at the end. But yeah, it was bad.
Okay,
And I'm surprised that I'm still here.
so you had a counselor come take you to coffee after the 5th day, and was that like at that point you're feeling better and
No.
no? Okay.
No, it was just, I couldn't sit on the bathroom floor anymore. I had to do something. I had to get moving. I had to get the endorphins going again. So
And how did your recovery go from there?
it was kind of up and down. I was clean for a while and then got back on meth. Some other life incidents happened and I started smoking heroin again after 4 years. And then at that time, I had picked up new charges, was going in and out of court, in and out of jail, And that's when I got into drug court.
And Randall, drug court has really been amazing for a lot of people.
Tons of
Yeah.
people.
It saved my
It
life.
saved her life.
It saved my life. It
It
got me
saved all of our
structure.
lives.
It got me, to be where I am today.
Who was your judge?
Skinky.
Cool.
Yeah.
There's some really, because I've got some drug court graduations, and there's some really cool judges. People picture judges as being these mean people who are going to screw people over, and these drug court judges really understand the problem and how people can get through. Did you develop a relationship with him?
At the beginning, I didn't because I was in jail, and the first time I saw him, I wasn't very nice to him. So, and then when he granted me into drug court, I mean, it was good. He's an amazing person. He's an amazing judge. And just, I have never been into other
Programs.
programs or other judges. So I don't know how the other courts do, but he's an amazing man.
And at the end of drug court graduation, for most people, is they exonerate you or they expunge all your charges, and they give you, and the prosecutors there. Did that happen for you? And if it did, how'd you feel? Because they shake your hand and they say, "Okay, you're a free woman, Katie." You know.
It did. It was amazing to finally have that. But then the expungement is very expensive for all your cases. So
How many cases did you have, Katie?
16.
How many?
16 felony charges.
Wow.
Yeah.
God, it is great to see you on this side.
Yeah.
It
It's a
is
lot
really-
better on this side.
It is.
It's a lot better.
And by the way, if you're watching or listening to this show, we're going to give out a phone number right now, which is for Odyssey House. And that's where Randall is doing some amazing things. And Odyssey House is a wonderful organization. They treat 800 people right now. The reason that we give that number out is because they have great people there, and we're not recommending Odyssey House.
No.
There are a ton of great people out there who will help. But this is the first number you can call. And it is important to pick up the phone and call. Katie was alone on her floor in the bathroom for 4 days. And who knows if a call would have helped, but I think it might have.
Yeah.
And so if you've got a friend, loved one who's got an alcohol or drug issue, pick up the phone and call, and then it's not just your problem.
And the number is 801-322-3222.
One more time.
801-322-3222.
And
I couldn't have said that if
his
I'd have been
TV
drinking.
personality
right?
voice.
and Randall, very nicely, again, we're taping this back at the beginning of February, but Channel 2 did a nice profile on you last night.
Yeah, they did. And the point, and I think it's an important issue that usually when we think of drug addicts or alcoholics or whatever, we think of somebody down on the block on Rio Grande or something like that. And the point of it is that there are a lot of functional addicts and alcoholics out there who go about a normal life. They have jobs, they have families, and they have an issue that they need to deal with, but they sort of refuse to deal with it, which I did for decades. And there is help available for people in that situation. And I can testify, I've been clean going on, it'll be 8 years in July, that recover. I'm happier, I'm more peaceful, I'm more serene, I treat people better, I care about other people. Before I just cared about myself, and I would definitely recommend sobriety and recovery. But it was a nice story that they did, and you don't hear people talking that much about functional alcoholics or addicts, and there's a whole slew of people out there that fit into that category.
There might be many more functional addicts and alcoholics than non-functional. No one's done a study that I've seen. But people who go to work 5 days a week and get hammered at night or get hammered on weekends, and Sunday's a miserable day and they get up and do it again, and they could be living such better lives, such more fulfilling lives, such better husbands, wives, fathers, and mothers.
Yep.
And that's why we do this show. So again, if you've got some questions, pick up the phone and call Odyssey House. And again, they'll put you in touch. There are so many people, and Angela, you know this, being part of the community, though not an addict yourself, you know a lot about it. And Katie, you know this. There are thousands of people in the state of Utah who are trying to help.
Yes.
and all
of
over
course.
the world. And so we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to hear a little bit more about Katie's story, what she's doing now. And Angela's going to talk about one of the components of recovery is great exercise, great diet. And we're going to sign Randall up for class tomorrow morning.
Yay.
Perfect.
We're all twisting my arm here. Yeah.
We'll do this all when we come back. And welcome back to Odyssey House Journals. That's Randall Carlisle. I'm Trip Mitchell, Angela Martindale, Katie Martindale. And so you have been doing great lately, thanks to drug court and some really cool things. Now, Angela, when we met, the three of us in the gym, you were helping Katie out by exercise and great nutrition. Talk about that as a component for when you are quitting drugs or alcohol, how that can make the road a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, look, I talk about nourish to flourish, right? Everything that we do, we have to nourish our bodies. I mean, if we want to, work out, if we want to be a TV personality, if we want to be on the radio, I mean, we can't do anything without nourishing our bodies. And as a drug addict or an alcoholic, you're nourishing your body with substance, right? Chemicals.
And that's not good for you?
It's not, actually.
Damn,
They're not good
I
chemicals.
always thought when they advertised beer, it was good for you.
Yeah, there are many things, right? Substance abuse leads to vitamin and mineral deficiencies, lower body temperature, cognitive impairment, muscle degeneration is what you were talking about.
Cognitive impairment.
Right.
You don't think good.
I don't understand. Those are big words I don't understand.
Suppressed immune system. I mean, there are so many things. And then when you're trying to get sober or trying to recover, for Katie, thank goodness she had a good background we were both fitness competitors. We both did a lot of personal training and nutrition before her addiction got really deep. And for me, I obviously just continued with my life path, which is wellness and nutrition. And wellness and nutrition helped her get out of her substance abuse. It helped her recover even better. And so when we saw each other at the gym, she was about a year sober at that time, maybe a year and a half sober. And I was just so proud of her. And that was actually the way that we could connect, because I did not trust my sister. I did not want to be around her. I didn't trust that she was going to stay sober, because we had gone through this now for over 20 years together. And that was my way of connecting. So, hey, let's get up and go work out together. Let's go do a yoga class together.
That's a scary if Katie was late by a couple minutes, there was probably some angst.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. And so that was our way of rebuilding our relationship, which was really helpful, because then she could come and get meals. I could help her with nutrition. She would ask questions. And then there was a place where I was recovering from some surgeries, and she would get me out of bed, and I would go and meet with her. So that was our way of reconnecting as sisters, but also as fitness partners and wellness component and fitness partners together. And we just wanted to push each other. We had goals, and so we just wanted to push each other. And that really helped us create a better relationship, but also in her recovery, it helped her stay on track.
So nutrition can it make it easier to achieve sobriety or recovery or whatever? I mean,
absolutely.
Physically,
yes.
Mentally?
Yes, because you are replacing those vitamins, those minerals, right? You're hydrating better, you're sleeping better, right? You're not filling the body, hopefully, with chemicals. Now, there are statistics out there that show that addicts go towards sugar, right? They replace a drug with sugar, right?
That's a joke in AA, is when people stop drinking, they turn to cookies and cakes and everything else.
Because, so then there's weight gain, there's, loss of sleep, then there's self-esteem issues, right? Because now you're looking in the mirror and now you're 20 pounds heavier, and you're now eating instead of drinking, or, eating instead of smoking, or eating instead of shooting, right? And so, when you have a balanced nutrition plan and a wellness plan created with your recovery,
and Angela,
it is so important.
I was so proud of myself. Last summer, we're doing another show, and I was having oranges, cantaloupe, strawberries, all these things that were great for breakfast. And I'm feeling just great about life. And then Angela explained to me, and Nicole too, That was the dumbest thing I could be doing. So these are fresh fruits. I go, what could possibly be wrong except for the sugar spike? So some of the
Even a natural sugar spike.
Oh, for sure.
yeah, and
Yeah, it spikes insulin, right? Just like alcohol would spike insulin, just like sugars or sugary foods would spike insulin. The body doesn't know the difference between an orange and a candy bar.
Right.
Really?
No. Right? We need proteins,
And
good sources
Randall,
of
I
food.
was so
Doesn't
cocky.
mean you can't have them. I am not here to make anybody mad about oranges or strawberries. Doesn't mean you cannot have them. It's just it's as we talk about substance abuse and using nutrition as a wellness and recovery tool, sugar needs to be absolutely either cut out or really lowered because it creates those cravings, right? We get cravings from those things.
Wow.
And so if we are better at
The Florida
vegetables...
Citrus Commission is on the phone right now. They want to
they're
stop
not a
this
sponsor,
show
are
right
they?
now. No, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear.
Yeah, so
That's enlightening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So helping someone in recovery is also helping them with their nutrition and wellness.
what we're going to do in a future show is have you come back where we can talk about things because it was a shock. I was so proud of the way I was eating.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden,
I find out that it's so counterproductive.
Right.
Yeah.
And we should come back and do a whole show on things some recipes for people in recovery that can...
that's a good idea.
Yeah, I have them
that.
once in a while.
Yeah.
Normally, Randall does
would
all the
love that.
booking, and he does an amazing job.
Oh, I would love that.
And
Put me on the books.
That'd be cool.
and this might be something that we could tape it's a TV show and send out to some of the other clubs because when you do get into recovery, nutrition is never mentioned. Now, I didn't go through treatment, but I got into been in and out of AA for 15 years and never heard the subject. And if we, anything you can do to make it a little easier. And you're doing that now. Tell me about what you're doing.
I work out every day.
Okay.
And I've been watching my diet just because I think all of the years of drug abuse has affected my stomach. And I'm trying to figure that out. And I've just had to go really clean. No processed foods, no whites, no like fast foods, just foods in their purest form. And it's helped me a lot.
And you work for a friend of ours,
Yes.
Mindy Vincent, who is a force of nature and has been a guest on this show and has her own podcast and TV show. And in your case, coming back, do you notice a difference when you're eating well as opposed to eating the garbage?
Definitely.
So it's it's a
Definitely.
substantial feel for
So
it.
if you don't eat any of that bad stuff, what do you eat every day? I mean, breakfast, lunch, dinner.
There are many things to eat, Randall.
Right? Other than
day
Big Macs
of
and fruit. Geez.
Eating,
Yes.
I have a protein shake after I work out.
Protein shake.
Protein shake.
By the way, Angela owns a company that is amazing. And boy, I was just talking to one of your customers, Mike Pompous, the cat. He goes, I love meals that transform. Jeremy Kuhn, the producer of Napoleon Dynamite, I saw him at a party on Sunday, same thing. Vita, my wife, has meals that transform. And Angela's company's out of Holiday, and I've been to their commissary. It is crystal clean. It's amazing quality food.
Yeah, it is.
And-
It is. And it's really good. And I mean, if my dad will eat it, it's good. Because my dad is very picky on what he eats.
Well, he's a
and-
recovering alcoholic as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's...
Well, that's great. And
Yeah.
it must be really make you proud to have your dad in recovery, you're in recovery. And
Yeah. And actually, my dad has been giving me his yearly coins. that he
fantastic.
has.
How many years does he have?
He has 28.
Oh, if we were in a meeting, we'd be
28.
applauding and saying
Yes.
happy birthday.
Yes.
He has 28.
Yes.
Yeah, and our team that does this production here has over 60 years of sobriety. Most of them are with Lee.
Primarily
Yeah,
because
he's
of the
Lee.
guy behind the camera.
So it is fantastic, and you just seem great, and
Yeah.
it's a wonderful story.
Thank you.
So people, because she came on, I mean, people might want to contact you for your...
What's a good
what do you
name?
call it? Yeah.
Yeah, so-
It's
so
a
for me-
nutrition program or...
Yeah, for me, I own Meals That Transform. We make fresh organic
Hold
meals
on, I'm gonna
delivered
grab
right
a-
to your door.
I am going to grab a prop.
And I also own a protein snack company called Ohm Power.
Why don't you pull one of the products out?
Yeah, Ohm Power. I brought these for the boys today so they could, but we do Ohm Power bars, which are all raw, all organic, only 12 ingredients. They are fantastic for that sweet tooth for my addicts, right? I got Katie hooked on Ohm bars, which is fantastic, but there's also a really positive message inside. Ohm is really the universal sound of I am.
Right.
And you're putting out into the universe the positiveness and what you want to attract to you. So inside there is an I am. And then I have a snack mix. It's a nut mix. We also do protein powder. And we have about 7 to 8 different products. But Meals That Transform and I am Ohm Power, both.com. And then Katie's business, she is a trainer for addicts in recovery, and she has a company called Truth Fitness. And
how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah.
Just my cell phone number.
Okay, well, read it out and we'll put it on the screen.
Yeah.
It's 385-388-3006.
Okay, 385.
388-3006.
Okay, Katie, and yeah, you've got, your sister is a emeritus plugging master. You, not so much. I know, and it's hard sometimes when you're in recovery. You're used to that attitude that, nothing I do is worthwhile.
Right.
But when you get in recovery and all of a sudden you realize that you can help a lot of people, and training is fantastic, and God, I'm so glad you guys came on the show.
Thank you. Thanks
And
for
we'll
having
have you back, and we'll talk
Thanks for
about
having
nutrition and how to help people in recovery.
Specifically, what you should, because I'm interested in this, what you should eat every day in recovery, and what's, like your example of fruit. I would have thought that's great compared to drinking a Bud Light in the morning. But,
Sure. Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
So,
But it's
I was so
insulin.
proud of myself.
Yeah.
And Angela and Nicole looked at me like, God. Well, I get that look a lot. And one more time, the number to call.
for Odyssey House, 801-322-3222.
We've had a great show. I want to thank Lee behind the camera. I want to thank Bill Francis, who gets us on TV, all the folks back. Who helps us out at Odyssey House in terms of...
Matt Haight, he puts it together and puts it out on Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that. And he does
12,000
stuff I don't
listeners
know how to do. So
12,000 listeners a
Great.
week is amazing. Katie, Angela, thank you so much. I'm Trip
Thank
Mitchell.
you.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.